Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. Today's guest, he's a busy man. He is a busy man at the moment. It's Len Herbert. Hi Len, how are you, man?
Hi Russ, fine. I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, good. Happy the
Nice.
Hammers are winning as well.
Oh yeah, it makes everything feel nicer, isn't it? Even when the weather's a bit,
Yeah.
even the weather's been a bit pants in the last few days. It's just that extra sort of step in your bouncing your step, isn't it? When West Ham,
Well, also, I think even the game against Tottenham, to me, that's a victory.
Yeah, exactly. It really was. It was a victory, and that's the thing. It's funny, isn't it? Because you come away thinking, and then it's typical West Ham of us. We're there going, "Oh yeah, 3. Oh, we should have won. We should have won. 4 now should have scored." It's like give the guy some credit, Jesus. But no, yeah, it's always nice when West Ham win. At least your Monday mornings are a little bit better when you get up from work, or you go to get the paper and stuff. It's as I said, extra bounce in a step, and
oh yeah,
I think that man exactly. I think that Lanzini goal has probably been played about 1 million times, since. And those two, go on.
So along with the two Spurs guys that are
That's what I was going to say.
Look out, rescue! Here we come.
I love it, and that's what being a West Ham fan's all about, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, we don't have many of them this season. We don't have many of those sort of highs, so we just really enjoy them when they come, and.
We go for
hopefully, exactly, and hopefully a few more this season. I just think there seems to be a real buzz around the training ground as well. When they do little videos, the club put little videos up. Everyone seems to be happy and smile. I know it's edited, but everyone seems to be happy and smiley, and
absolutely.
And they seem to be all behind Moisey and Kevin and Stuart and all the guys there. So we'll see. It's
I think we're all praying that Moisey wasn't going to come back on Sunday for the game, but obviously it seems to be working out what they're doing, so let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I put it on Twitter. I was like, "Go on, back on Zoom next week, Moise." But no, he just seems, it was nice, obviously for him to be there to see that, because obviously the last 2 games we've been playing so well and have scored so many goals and not conceded any, and he hasn't been physically there to enjoy it, and so. Albeit, he probably didn't enjoy the first 20 minutes on Sunday, but he enjoyed the last 15, so that's all right.
Oh, absolutely right. I think we all did.
Yeah, God, yeah. My as I said, my mother-in-law came storming into the front room thinking I'd turned my ankle or something. It's like, no, it's all right. No, it's all right. We just equalise against Tottenham.
Even at my age, I'm up and about when we score, and can't wait for it.
No, you can't, and that's what at the moment we got bugger all to, there's nothing we can do. It's doom and gloom everywhere. So at least it's a bit of light relief, isn't it? When especially, even West Ham lose, it's a distraction from, everything else that's going on in the world at the moment.
Well, to be honest, from the day I started going to West Ham, which was in the 57-8 season, I was born just down the road from West Ham, about a 7-minute walk up by the Green Gate. Mum and Dad ran a shop there, and we lived there. And I first went there, and I thought to myself, "Oh, yeah, this is good,"
Yeah.
And then, of course, they went on and won the league that year, and I thought, "Oh, what a team to follow! We're going to win everything." 1964, it happened. But yeah,
brilliant. And that's it. And that's it, isn't it? I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and if you wrote it down on paper, West Ham should never have the fan base that they have, because it's like, we've won bugger all, we really have. I mean, obviously we had exactly Intertoto Cup in '99. That was it, and it's like, and there's been a few peaks and troughs, it's like, I mean, but it's it's not good when you look at it on paper, and even the fact that I know we'll talk about the promotion stuff, but obviously the boys of '86 and stuff like that. I mean, they finished third.
Yeah.
We sort of laud a team that finished third, and it just shows, but we have this incredibly passionate group of fans, and ever increasing, globally. We interview loads of people all over America and India, and I've got a guy from Hong Kong next week, and I'm flabbergasted really about our fan base in terms of the reach.
Well, it's even within my family. I took my daughter, she's the oldest, along when she was young, and my son as well.
Yeah.
And they loved every minute of it. And then since then, my daughter's had 2 children, one 16, one 10. They both season ticket holders.
Yeah.
Our son's got a son; he's a season ticket holder. I mean, it's just no false in. They don't have to go, but they get it from us. They get the passion from the true West Ham fans, I think, and that's what it becomes a way of life, regardless of what happens with the team. It's a way of life.
Yeah, definitely. It is, and it's character building, particularly for the youngsters, isn't it? Because they can't have everything. It just shows in life you can't have everything. You can't be Man City and Liverpool, and but you got to enjoy those highs when we get them, because they don't come often often for West Ham fans.
No, it's very sad. I mean, talking about the Intertoto Cup, that was one of the best away days that I think I went to, because our daughter and our son and myself, we were lucky. We flew out there. And we had a great day there. We took over the town square, and then we went and saw the game. And then coming home was a complete fiasco, because we all got to the airport and it was closed, because they closed about 4:00. And we got to the check-in desk, and there was 3 plane loads of people there. And in the end, she just threw all the boarding cards and sort of said, "Help yourself." And we got them, because they told us on the plane to leave our stuff on the plane to get back in the same seat, but we didn't, obviously. But it was all part of the great day. It was just unbelievable.
Exactly, and you get them, or obviously famously, our little day trips to Cardiff 3 years in a row, and obviously the playoff final at Wembley, and that's all we want, really, isn't it? Just a day out, every so often, gives us an excuse.
The thing is with West Ham, the way I've always looked at it is, if they try, I don't care what the result is. We want to win, obviously, but if they give you, good value for your money, you're there to see them, you want to see them play, they're your team, you're urging them to do everything right. If they try and they don't succeed, I mean, I was at the game on that Bank Holiday Monday when we lost 8-2, but it was still a great day. It was a great game. It's West Ham. You expect it, but in those days, everybody did try every game.
Yeah.
Win, draw or lose, we tried. But later years, I don't think it's always been the same, personally.
No, I think, and again, I think it's really interesting when you say things like that, because you're right. I think it's the modern footballer. I just think, I mean, the guy you talk about, even sort of the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and even sort of the 90s, to be honest, players are around for a long time. And so they built an affiliation with the fans built an affiliation with them.
Yeah.
And so you knew they were going to be trying. But nowadays, if you get 3 years out of a player, you've done well now. And it's like, look at someone like Anderson, he came in and was great the first season, then it sort of didn't go so well, and he's on loan in Porto, and that happens all the time now, and you just never get that two-way relationship, where you feel they're playing for you and you're supporting them, and
right. Well, it goes back to one of the best seasons of my time. I think 63-4.
Yeah,
and we used to go to all the away games. You always went by train, and coming back on the train, you was on the train with the players.
Yeah,
you see Moro sitting there, and the likes of Ken Brown and people like this, Bondi, all playing cards, and they'll all have a chat with you. And it was like one night we played Ipswich away. It was on a Wednesday night, very cold, and the train stopped at Ilford, because I was living in Chapel Heath then. The train stopped at Ilford. I thought, well, okay, I've walked home from here before when been out. Yeah. Anyway, as we got off, I think it was Ken Brown and Martin Peters. Both said, anybody going towards Romford, we'll give you a lift. Would you get that today? Yeah.
No, would you get that at, Newby Park, Sebastian Haller turns up,
Yeah. But,
no, you wouldn't. But again, I just think, and it's quite funny when we do this channel, we interview people, and obviously from different generations, and still, until I'd say probably the last sort of 10 years, it was sort of always the case. I mean, I live in Hornchurch now, but I used to live in Loughton, and I've said it on the channel before, I used to work at Sageways when I was a 15, 16-year-old lad, and Shaka would be in there, and Samasi Abu, and, Paul Kitson, and you'd see him, and it was like nowadays they're almost, I think footballers are now sort of so sterile now in terms of the professional footballers at the moment. You don't get those personalities, you don't get that together, that closeness with the fans that you did. They're almost seen as like, a bit like movie stars. You don't usually you've never seen movie stars around, but you see footballers around, and it's a shame, because like I just I think for the younger fans, they never had that closeness, like you said. Getting a lift home for Martin Peters, or that's just crazy. That it's like the other day I saw Ken Brown Jr. At the co-op petrol station. It's just,
he's lovely boy, Kenny.
He's brilliant. Yeah, he's good lad. We had a good laugh when he was on, and that's it.
Sorry, I mean that's why we do these events. We do.
Yeah.
Our son and our daughter, we run them together.
Yeah.
And we try to get a lot of the older players along.
Yeah.
That people didn't realise they could meet, didn't realise they could talk to.
Yeah.
And we try to have a right mix. We've started using a lot more the newer people like Colton Cole, people like this, and Dean Ashton's great. Dino's been to a few of my dudes, and he's such a lovely fella.
Yeah.
There's so many people around that will relate to the fans, but not a lot of them in the modern game will do.
No,
they turn up, they play for the wage packet, they don't play for the shirt.
No, it's a career. It's a career rather than a passion, isn't it? And
absolutely right.
And that's even more of a case. You do get the exceptions to the rule, but they are exceptions. Whereas back in the day, even like, I mean, we've had a cross section of players, obviously, and even like sort of people my age, like Trevor Sinclair and people like that, they were still really passionate at West Ham, with West Ham, and you can hear, and actually everyone we've interviewed, every player we've interviewed, they all have this sort of passion for West Ham, even if it's God bless him, like John Pansel, who had this sort of elevated a position of himself. He was like, "Oh, the fans love me. They used to sing my name."
Yeah, did they?
Did they, John? One bloke probably did, but yeah. But you know what I mean? And you just had that connection, and it's like your events, the things you do, it's just a great opportunity to listen to the guys and have an opportunity to meet them. Because a lot of them are like their boyhood heroes. It's like
absolutely right. I mean, it's like me. One of my heroes is Bonzo.
Yeah.
And he's such a lovely fella. He is such a gentleman. And when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer last year, he found out. He was on the phone to me once a week, once a fortnight. How you doing, Len? What's the thing? And previous to that, our daughter was having a grandson, and he had a lot of problems, and he ended up being born with a heart condition. And every time I spoke to Bonzo, which was quite often, he used to say to me, "How's the little one, Len? How's he getting on?" He never forgets anything, Bonzo. Such a lovely fella. Such a lovely fella.
Well, even is that, and we had Slates on the other day, and he was talking about when he was getting into when he was sort of signed for West Ham and stuff, and even then, the sort of the way they treated the kids as well. Tonka would literally go to every one of his youth team games on a Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Like, for a 13, 14-year-old guy having like a West Ham, first teamer turn up. It's a different world, man. It's a different world, and it's.
I used to run football teams. I got roped into it when our Paul was quite young, and we went along because he was going to play, and I ended up running it because the bloke didn't want to do it. And luckily, I knew little Mark Robson then. I say little Mark, he's not little, but Mark Robson. And I asked him. He said, "I'll come and do a bit of training for you and all this." And of course, the kids were in awe because at the time he was playing on the wing, Keeney on the other wing, and then TC started doing something for me, and it went on from there. And it was great for the kids because they were meeting their parents' heroes. They were meeting people that were playing currently, and and it's the thing is today there's no passion for it, even for the kids.
No, it seems. I mean, although to be fair, it seems in recent years. I mean, obviously every age group now has a player in there, ex-player now. So obviously you got Keno still there, and Potsy, and you got Colton and Conch does all the youth team, all the loanies, a liaison officer, whatever it was, and that's nice. And obviously it is good because I think that's what you need because people talk about West Ham and losing their identity and they're losing their West Hamness. These guys lived through the time, and obviously Nobes, what will happen with him. He's already starting to do his coaching. We know he's going to end up, associated with the club that way as well. And you have to cherish these people, particularly like, the Kenos and the Potseys of this world, and it's and again, it's indicative of modern football, isn't it? I mean, having that sort of, it's with so much money in the game, and now you lose a little bit of that identity to the pound note, and it is always the way, unfortunately, and it's a shame. But I think with West Ham, we just have that, because that the way we have the passion, and it for your events, they sell out so quickly, because it doesn't matter where they are, even now, probably even more so, because people are desperate to go to do stuff as well.
You say that, we're putting one on for the Hilton Hotel next May the 28th.
Yeah.
Event.
Brilliant.
And I've got 15 ex-goalkeepers
that
said yes. Even Shaka said, providing his ESPN contract doesn't make him work that week, he's going to fly over for it.
Awesome.
That's what I mean. Peter Grottier, Peter Shearing, going back to the 60s.
Wow.
And obviously Rob Green said yes the other day, he's coming. I've managed to trace down Tom McAllister. And there's Perry Suckling, Mackleworth, there's loads of them, and they're all coming along. And when I said, could I come along? Is that all right? And I think to myself, it's lovely to go along and listen to all their stories, meet them. The biggest thing with our events is everybody can meet the players. We don't turn around and say, if you want an autograph, it's going to cost you a tenner. No, you buy your ticket for our events. You have at Dagenham, you have your pie and mash. Listen, talk to them. You can have a chat with them. You can meet them, photographs. And I think that's what helps our events. We have to be careful, because we do get at times dealers along, which we've now sussed out. We've now stopped them, because it's just not fair. It's not fair on the players.
No, it's not. No. Yeah,
and
it makes it makes sense. It is a fan event, and and obviously the goalkeeper one is sounds like a right giggle, because I just know. Shaka is such a nice bloke, isn't he? I love him.
Yeah,
he's such a nice guy, and and because obviously goalkeepers are an unusual bunch, aren't they? So you've got a nice cross section of people there. You've got some crazy ones, and Greeno's just totally the other way. But
you've got some public gentle type ones like Mr. Parks.
Yes.
But it's going to be a good event, and of course we've got the best host in the business doing it, Tony Gale.
Yeah.
Who gets away with murder with everybody.
Of course he does. Yeah.
Well, the classic one for me was when I did an event to raise money for John Lyle charity, which was his grandson's football area clubs.
Yeah.
And for Ron Greenwood, which was his son and wanted it for Alzheimer's. And we had it at the old Upton Park. It was lovely. And Murray, John's son, got in touch with Manchester United to see if he would come down, to see if Alec would come down. Yeah. And he said, of course I would. And he said, anyway, he flew down into Stansted, arranged a car to bring me along. He sat and had something to eat, had a chat, and flew back. But when Gailey was on the mic, he said, I was so pleased that day, when Ludo stopped you winning the trophy, and Alec took it. He loved every minute of it. But Gailey is perfect.
He's brilliant. No, he's good, Reg. Yeah, we've had him on. He's a good. He would be a stand-up comic, wouldn't he, if he wasn't going to be a professional football player.
Even David Cross could do a double.
Yes. Great shout. Yeah, Crossy's, he's a good. But Crossy has a real dry sense of humour, isn't he? It's like Gailey will just rip you, but Crossy would do it from behind. So not from behind, that's the wrong expression, but it would be so blatantly in your face. Yeah, no. But that's it. You get to read the personality, and you hear the stories, and it seems that when we talk to the ex-players, the stories they come up with, and it's just and even the modern day as players, like obviously we've had Razor on, and we've had Sinks and Hartson, and their stories are just as crazy. It's just because it's just some of the things they say. It's like, how'd you get away with that at the time? And everything we obviously refer to in today's modern society.
Not
PC. No, exactly, not PC. But
I was brought up to be polite and be a gentleman.
Yeah,
so there's loads of stories I would love to tell, but I wouldn't.
No,
because it wouldn't be fair, and it's against my nature to say them. But I could write a book, Russ. I could write a book.
Yeah. Well, one day you never know. It's like when you're not going to do the promotion stuff again. Then I think there's a lot of books in people. I think there's definitely. I know Razor's got one coming out this week, and I know there's a few more books flying around, and I'd love to see. My personal favourite would be a John Moncur book. Because he is brilliant, and when we had him on, it was funny because he's obviously he's calmed down a little bit, in later life, playing more golf and stuff. But when we started talking, it was almost like a twitch. You could just see it in his eye, and he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't tell you this story, but this happened, and I did this, and I said to Harry, and I was naked, and it's like, oh, it literally all came out in like sort of Tourette's type thing, all these stories. And it's brilliant.
One of the other things I do with TC and Gailey, we rerun the Bobby Moore Golf Day.
Yeah,
and it's quite good there because we normally have Trev, so Trev does it, and people like but we get a lot of other players come along, like Glenn Hoddle, Ozzy Ardiles, and although my West Ham side says hate people, they're such lovely people, and they say nothing but praise about West Ham.
Yeah,
that's it. They talk about the players and they talk about the fans. I mean, people say about these massive fan bases. I don't think you can beat ours. Not for loyalty. Not for loyalty. Not. I don't mean you're a fan. You go out and buy a shirt, but I mean, you're interested. You're keen. You know your players and things like this. And I think that's where we're miles ahead of everybody else.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even this channel, we have guys, guys, Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans. They all message me to say, we watch it. We're not West Ham fans, but we love listening to how passionate you guys are, and just this uniqueness that is a West Ham. It's almost like I mentioned before to someone that it's a bit like when you try to learn the guitar or the ukulele if you're Chris Ross, and you have to sort of get calluses on your fingers to get to start playing properly, so you don't get hurt. And that's like being West Ham. We're calloused, so we're impervious to losing 3-0 to Burnley because we know 3 weeks later we're playing Spurs and we're going to turn up for that game. It's just like and that's why I love it. I just they turn up 3 or 4 times a season, but you don't know what games they're going to turn up at, so you have to watch every game. And everything, there's always something going on.
That's it. That's just what West Ham is. You moan that you have a terrible game. You think, oh, what do I bother? But 5 minutes down the road, especially from the bowling, 5 minutes down the road, you see all the thousands of people there, and you think to yourself, "I'll be back next game." I know I will.
Exactly.
Before we had season tickets, we'll be back. Getting at 12 o'clock, try and see some of the players. I always remember people like McAvenny, and then come and say, "Sorry, I'm late, I can't get in, I'll get told off." And now, because I know him friendly, I know McAvenny, he's a different man, but he was always late anyway. But.
Yeah, he always runs late, bless him. He's always playing fucking golf. Every time I we tried to talk to each other, he's either on the golf course or he's off the golf. He's just finished, and he's like, that's the one thing since doing this, like, obviously you've been chatting to the players for years, but for me, it's like, I don't realize how much golf they play. Everyone plays golf, It's just like ridiculous how much golf they play.
Well, it's football for them. It's nothing else.
It is, And obviously they were bouncing off the walls during lockdown proper, where they couldn't play any golf, and so they talked to me instead, which was very nice of them. When you talk about football, and you're obviously watching the games now, Len, do you watch it with the crowd noise on or the crowd noise off?
Noise on.
Noise on.
The reason I do, it's because I often sit with my grandchildren and watch it.
Yes.
Sometimes you can hear the players, although they're worldly wide, they hear it all the time. I still don't think it's right.
Yeah.
That's me. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I do all the time. But,
I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
It's nice to have the noise. It does. I mean, some of them are brilliant what they do. Villa are very good. I don't like the team, but I like the crowd noise because they the booing when it's against their player, or if it's a closer. And how about yourself? Do you?
So when I'm watching the away games, I definitely watch it with the crowd noise. Sometimes I have switched it off because I watched the Tottenham game with it off, so to speak, because it's quite interesting. I just find it really interesting how noisy our bench is. You've got, and I think Gonzo did a thing on Hammers Chat a few weeks ago about how noisy our bench are. And you can actually, it's not just Moyes, it's Nolan, it's Piercy, they're all, and Alan, I mean, they're all screaming, and it can be quite intimidating, and
I'll do that next time, I think.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and to hear who, I think Oggy does a lot of shouting about, and obviously Deck, and I find it really interesting. When I'm at the ground, I at the moment it's so quiet that I have to put on some noise. So I always whack on one of the YouTube watch-alongs, whether it's Hammers Chat or West Ham Fan TV, Orange United, something like that, just to have a little bit of, and then I go on and just take the piss a little bit because obviously I'm there, so it's like you've got this little. They've got a massive time delay, and I'll be like goal, and I won't say who for, and they go. No. And it's almost like Soccer AM. There's been a goal at London Stadium, but for who? And they have to wait until Yarma scores or something like that. No, it's but I think actually we've adjusted. I think people have adjusted to it quite well. You know what I mean? It's like it's not guys like yourselves, Len. You've been going to the home games for years and years and years, and then for the last sort of dozen or so home games.
Southampton was the last one we saw.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Even typically, so the letters that sent out to all of us about the season tickets how good said we won 3-0. I don't mean I was at that game because our game I was at was 3-1. But this is what you love about West Ham.
Yeah.
Our last game at home where we all went and they got the score wrong in the letter they sent to everybody.
But that's it, and it's like it's like where it's always. I mean, even that last game at the Boleyn, that all buggered up. In terms of it, we've all and obviously Bonzo turned around, went home, and everything was delayed, so we had to put the fireworks at the beginning rather than at the end randomly, and we wouldn't have if it went perfectly, seamlessly without a problem. No, exactly. No. Bit of spit and sawdust. That's what we are. We're not like a polished team. We're not a polished outfit.
We're a full Fiesta, not a Rolls Royce.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's a good way
to explain. Model, I think, but
yeah, maybe a full Focus. We it's we can carry a little bit more than the full Fiesta, but I know exactly what you mean. But again, it's what being a West Ham fan is all about, and we're used to it. And we are just used to it.
Wouldn't change it.
No, me neither. Someone said to me the other day, "Would you like to win the Premier League?" And I actually said no because I think it would change us even more. Do you know what I mean? And we'd still moan. Yeah, and we'd still moan about it. We'd have to put, we'd moan about our Champions League, second team, putting a second team out for the Champions League. There'd be something we'd moan about because, if everything's going well, there's always something going on. We always something to moan about. And again, that's why we love it. Right. Yeah. Let's talk about your 11, Len. Yeah. Okay. So as everyone we've had on the channel, apart from 3 people, have picked their 11. And the idea being is you can pick about whatever criteria you want in terms of the players you want. The only rule is you have to be alive to see them play. No disrespect, Len, but you have quite a nice spread of players. That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, thank you very much. But what I've actually done, Russ, I've chosen players from our events.
Good idea.
I mean, so I could talk probably more. I can talk about people like John Bond, Ken Brown, Jim Stand, and all those, which were the main ones at the time. I've gone for the entertaining ones from our events.
Brilliant. Very good.
Right, Phil Park's my goalkeeper choice.
Yes.
I mean, although I'm good friends with Ludo, I'm still good friends with Parksy. Very good friends with him. But he got me into this event stuff because one day he said to me, you fancy doing some work for the boys of 86? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we have, I know they do the football days at West Ham. They get invited to other clubs to raise money and they do dinners and all that. And I said, well, I've not done it before. He said, well, we think you can do it. And bang, that's where it's gone from there. But I like Phil anyway. I talked to Phil. Yeah. I spoke to him all the time when he was ill. We chatted a lot. And he's a great fella, Phil.
Great guy, yeah. And obviously turned 70 during lockdown. So
yes, I arranged. Maria phoned me up. Len, if you do us a favour, I said, what's that? Could you get some of the boys who's playing do video? I did about 20 of them. And then Phil, when I spoke to Phil, he said, oh, thank Marie for all that. He said, no, I found out you did it. She didn't do it at all.
Because she was talking to me when we interviewed her. She's like panicking as well. She's like, "Oh, I've got so much to do," and she, it was really sweet. But it was nice to see because it's like, as you said, he's a West Ham legend, and and the fact that he grew his hair back as well for lockdown as well, for the 70th as well. It's brilliant. Yeah, good old Cossack man coming back.
Tells of that where he thought it was vodka, and not when he saw him do the advert, he didn't realise it was for hairspray. But whether that's the plan words these days, I don't know. But that's what he says.
Oh, bless him. Oh, God bless him. All right, we'll put Phil in. You go for the team as you want. Then you go through as you go, player by player.
Then I've gone for Dixie, Julian Dix.
Yeah.
Because when he's been, again, it's another one that I know quite personally now, and he's a lovely fellow. He's
Yeah.
Regardless of how hard he was on the field and what he was like, he's a lovely man. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman. And he tells some great stories. You know, you ask him, I mean, I spent one-to-one with him and we've been out drinking that, and he'll tell you a different story to what he tells in public.
Of course.
But that's Julian. He's just a lovely man. That's why I chose him. You know, he's a hero. He's a hero to thousands of West Ham fans. He's penalty taking, he's tackling, no nonsense play.
No.
I think certain Mr. Stewart from Chelsea knows all about him. Was it Stewart, the defender that he accidentally trod on?
Yeah, I think it was Graham Stewart, wasn't it?
Graham Stewart, yeah. I mean, it was an accident, as Julian told me.
Yeah.
But there you go. But yeah, that's why I've got Julian there.
And the same birthday as Phil Parks. There we go.
And the same birthday as Phil Parks.
There we go. Very good.
Okay,
who's next, man?
Tonka, Ray Stewart.
Tonka, yes.
I mean, I could never understand him at first when I first got to know him.
Still can't, yeah.
No, not always, especially when he's had a drink. No, he's such a lovely fellow. He's another one that phoned me up when he found out I'd been ill. And we've talked every couple of weeks now, I've had a chat. And many a time he says, I'm coming down to London, Len. You got anything on? I say, you've got to do it. So, all right, if I come along. And he'll come along to one of my dues, not as a guest, but as one of the other people just to come along. Because he loves that. He absolutely adores that. And that's such a nice thing for him to do. I mean, some players you go to, they say, you want to come along? I say, how much?
Yeah.
Not Tonka. Even though he's Scottish, he's not that type. And
you say that because when I spoke to him, because we're gonna do ours when we can do it face to face. He doesn't like all this internet stuff, and same with Parksy as well. But when we did when I spoke to Tonka, he phoned me. He said, "Look, Russ, I'm not ignoring your text, honestly, but I don't like doing this." We spoke for and bless him, he didn't have to. We spoke for about an hour and a half, and then he went about West Ham and stuff, like putting the world to right as you do with Tonks, and he went, actually, Russ, I've got to go now because the tea bags have just dried in the line. I've got to get me before it rains. You know, typical stickers.
Yeah, typical, right? Yeah, that's him all over. But he's such a lovely fella.
Oh, he is, yeah.
I used to think he was arrogant. When you don't know somebody, you get an impression in your mind of what they're like.
Yeah.
But no, he's really nice. He loves my family. He talks to my daughter and my son at the events. Yeah, he's a great fella. No,
he's good. Top guy. Top guy. Okay, so we put Tonks in. Who's next? Who's the next player?
Well, there's only one other player can go number 4, isn't there? Mr. Bonds.
Yeah,
Bill. He's not only a hero of mine, he's a good friend. And he's another one that, as I said earlier on, he found out when I was ill and he was on the phone to me, chatting with me. He always asks how our grandson is.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't forget anything. We've been at events like dinners, and somebody come and says, "Hello, Bill. I last met you in 1973. Oh, I remember you was with so-and-so." He knows.
Wow.
His memory is incredible. People come up to him. I mean, not insignificant things, but if it's something like they were at a dinner or they're at a club or something, he remembers everything. And that's what I like about Bill. He's got time for people. Unfortunately, he's like me. He's into his coming up to his mid-70s, and he still looks like he could put a shot on and play.
He does, yeah.
I look like I can lay behind the goal to stop the ball. That's about my limit of it. But no, he's such a lovely fellow, and that's why I put him at number 4.
Yeah, he has to. And you're right. He's just a lovely player. And obviously, you know, last year with the stand named after him, that was a very special moment, I think.
Well, somebody done a presentation at one of our dinners where we had him. I think we had 75 boys there, and he had a tear in his eye.
Yeah,
because he's a very emotional man, Bonzo. He had a tear in his eye because somebody presented him a nice montage of the photographs there of his family and him and all this, and he had a tear in his eye when he thanked, because he loves West Ham as well, because he's a South London boy. He loves West Ham.
Yeah,
you know? And he's that's why I put him at number 4.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Bonzo's in. Who's next then, Len?
I've got to have Reggie in there, and I've got to have
you got to have Reg. See, I know all these nicknames now. I never knew the nicknames, and then when we was interviewing Tony Gale, we went, right, we're going to have Reg, we're going to have Stretch. You know, he's like, I was like, I have no idea. You mean, I'll be honest, I have no idea, Tony. But Gailey, got to put Gailey in. God bless him.
He's become one of my best friends, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I spoke to him about 20 minutes ago. Somebody got in touch with me. There'd been a West Ham fan serving in the army. He got killed in a road accident a few weeks ago.
Yes, I read that. Yeah.
He was sergeant in the army, and the guy asked me, could I do anything to help? So I got onto Reggie. I said to him, any chance to do a little video for me to the fans and to the family?
Yeah.
And he done it straight away. TC was the same. He did one straight away, and it means so much to the families.
It does,
You know,
doesn't it?
the husband or father or brother supported the team, talked about the team, whether the rest of the family do. And then if you get them from people like known people like TC and people like this, I think the families appreciate it.
Yeah. It's such a small thing to do, isn't it? But it just makes such an impact to people.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays. It's like nowadays where like, it used to be, if you got a photo with your favourite player or you got a signature, an autograph, it's more a case now with modern technology. It is like a video call, or also now because you can't touch anyone or meet anyone at the moment properly, but a video call or a retweet on Twitter or a follow. It's funny how there's still that person, some sort of connection, and it means so much to people. That's lovely.
And the thing is with Gailey as well, I think a lot of people like him, a lot of the players like him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give him his due. I mean, Graham Roberts, he comes to the Bobby Moore do. Gailey plays in their one. It's all done as favours for each other. They don't get paid for it. They just play a game of golf, and it's to help raise money for a good charity.
Yeah.
He does loads of these charity golf days, and he travels some distance up north for them. And I don't think you get modern players do that.
No, you don't. I think it's more of a privilege thing. It's like, the guys of that sort of the yesteryear, so to speak, they knew the privileged position they were in, and it's almost like they're trying to repay the fan, by doing these things. It's no harm, and it means they get, so it means they get a game of golf as well. So it's like it's not a bad thing. It's like I'd love to be in that position. I'd play golf. I'm shit at it, but I'd have a go. Every week. Absolutely brilliant.
It's the 19th hole's the best bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. He ends up normally hosting the evening as well whenever he does one, but that's TC. But he's a lovely fella.
Yeah, no, he's great guy. Okay, we'll put Gailey in. Who's next then, Len?
It's got to be Dev.
Yeah.
I think I've got to have Dev. He's a very nice fellow. He's a good friend of mine these days. But it might be, I don't know what I'm going to say now. I think to me, he's the best player in his time to put on the claret and blue. I think he was such a. I mean, anybody that saw him play, like, what a master he was. I mean, you had Trevor Brooke in, he played well. And he still, he was wonderful. But there was something about Dev, from a forklift driver to being what he was. I mean,
crazy. Yeah.
It was unbelievable. It was just a pleasure to watch him. And in later life, he's a good friend of mine. I mean, I spoke to him yesterday, and of course, he's just had a couple of results. He had some bad ones to start with in Maidenhead.
Yeah.
Now he's had a couple of results, and he's another nice fella, and he's got time for the fans. He loves West Ham.
Yeah.
So that's why I put him at number 6.
Yeah, no, definitely. And of all those players, they have, just because they give. I've obviously been very lucky to interview a lot of them, and everyone makes you feel like, you're their mate. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you know what I mean? It's really, it sounds really cheesy, but they do. You feel such at ease talking to these guys, and they don't know you from Adam really, but they are used to doing it, but it makes you feel so relaxed talking to them, because it can be quite daunting. I think they realise that it can be quite daunting because that's what they do, and they're professional football players, and you're just a little bloke in a garage in Hornchurch. Very nice garage, but still a garage.
North Essex,
but, exactly.
He's when I first got to know him, through doing the Boys of 86 stuff and that, he was always genuine. He always asked, he'd phone me up and say, Len, is that okay, blah, blah, are you happy about doing this? And, he was just such a nice fellow. He still is such a nice fellow. And anytime I can get him along to any of my dues, I do. Because I know that the fans like him, and Gailey always says, this is his dad. He said, remember Alan Devonshire playing West Ham, long flying upwards? This is his dad. And then,
because fair play, fair bless. If you were lining them all up, Dev's the one which always people go, who's he? Because he just looks very different. But everyone else still looks a little bit like themselves. But not Dev, bless him.
So that's why
God bless.
I had to have Dev in there.
Well, lovely. Yeah, who's going to be next for you, Len, in year 11?
Sir Trevor.
Oh, of course.
Sir Trevor. I mean, he was just magic the way he played and things like that. I didn't sort of decry him when I said Dev was, to me, one of the finest ones to be on there. But Trevor was wonderful as well. And when you saw those two play together, it was just, well, it was. As often the fans say, it was like watching Brazil. You know, they were so good. But Trevor's such a gentleman. I mean, the first time I met him, I felt really nervous and, you know, what's he going to be like? And he said, "Oh, hello, Len, how are you?" And shook hands. And I phoned him, you know, not often, but I phone him and he'll just talk on the phone as though I'm talking to you, you know.
Yeah.
It's Sir Trevor Brooking, you know, so yeah, I would have him in there purely alone for his skills, not only just personality as well. You know, he's I mean, Gailey again takes the mickey out and say rotten. Because I think one of my dudes, Sir Trevor said, "Oh, bloody hell." And Gailey said, "Sorry, can I all have your attention, please?" So Trevor's just sworn.
Yeah, exactly.
It was, he gets on so well with Gailey. And when you think they're worlds apart when it comes to their lifestyles, as it were, you know, Sir Trevor's always been Sir Trevor sort of thing. He's always been that step above, and Gailey's always worked his way up to where he got to. They got on so well, but everybody gets on well. So West Ham, ex-West Ham, they're all good fellas.
They do. They're just everyone's, as you said. I mean, you said you talk to them very often, and they talk to each other all the time as well. And it's lovely when you hear these things, you know, because you know, you assume there's togetherness, and you know, but it's carried on throughout the years. You know, I think 1980. It's 40 years ago. 1980 was, and still they're still together, and it's lovely when you hear those stories.
It comes back to what you said earlier on about the West Ham, the way we are.
Yeah.
That even the players that come from outside, I know Trevor didn't, but other people that come from other clubs, they can't understand why they love it so much. Why they love it. And this is very true because one of those I want to come up in a couple of minutes. He says this every time, but we'll get to him in a minute. But no, Trevor had to be in anybody's team, I think.
Oh yeah, well I think again it's a generation thing. I think I mean obviously I wasn't privileged enough to see him. Obviously I was privileged enough to see him on the touchline when he was caretaker manager, and
when Paolo didn't like what he did.
I know. But Trevor was Trevor, and I think you know when you're doing top trumps. Sorry, Paolo. You know we love you, but Trevor's always going to be top trump, isn't he? Basically, amongst the West Ham fans. But all right, we'll put Mr. Brooking in, Sir Brooking in. Who is next then, Len?
A gentleman I'd met until a couple of years ago, Pop Robson.
Nice.
I like Pop. When I first met him, he said, "Hello, Len. I've heard good things about you from all different players," and we got chatting about that. And the first time I met him, he had his leg in plaster and his foot. I said, "What's the matter? What have you done?" Playing golf. He was cutting the lawn and he cut the top of his toe off with a lawnmower. That was Pop. He was lovely, nice, and from that day on, we'd be good friends. And I loved the way he played. I mean, I remember being at Newport years ago when he scored from just inside their half, a blinding shot. But he's another one that came from elsewhere but loved West Ham.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, poor fellow. He joined, I think, after we won the 75 Cup.
Yeah, so
he left before we won the 80 Cup. So twice, and each time he never played. We got him to help us with victories like cups and things, and the poor sod never got anything, except the Golden Boot. But
exactly.
You know, but I put him in because I love him. He's a lovely fella. He's always got nice things to say. He doesn't run anybody down, and he loves meeting the fans, and he treats West Ham as part of him.
Yeah, definitely, and also the influence that he had on obviously Crossy. Crossy's a massive, he was one of his idols, and Cotty as well. They both were very, TC. They both put Pop as one of their major influences in their game, and so. I just think, and again, there's players like this, and that's why I love doing this show, because there's players that come up which don't get the credit that they deserve. Maybe because, people might put in, I don't know, someone else instead of Pop, and it gives everyone like a time to shine again. So for someone like Pop, his influence on other people who have been picked in people's 11s like TC, like Crossy, it shouldn't be it should be declared. It shouldn't be undermined because he was, as you said, he came in that period of he won bugger all, which, to be honest, when you look at our legends, exactly. When you look at our legends, particularly the modern day legends, they're legends, but they won bugger all, and so he was such an influence on them. It was, and that's why I think people miss out on that, is that people like Pop as well, and just what he brought to the club. Right, okay, so Pop's in. Who is next then, Len?
The Joker in the pack, David Cross.
The original Psycho.
The original Psycho. He's another one. He phoned me. He phoned me the other week and he said, "Len, you were first on my list today, so I thought I'd phone you." I said, "How many's on the list? 2?" Because he always phones Stevie Bacon as well. You know, each couple of weeks, see how we are. We talk. I met obviously his son, his daughters.
Yeah.
We chat about them, and we have a chat every couple of weeks and talk about old times. And he tells me how much he loved West Ham because he said, "I don't know why John signed me because I don't play the West Ham way." But John said to him, "That's why we want you."
Yeah.
And the other thing he tells me, he said, drive down Green Street on a match day, and he absolutely loved it. He said, "You see all the fans there, you know, you see them all, typical East Enders all over, walking down with their claret and blue on." He said, and it used to give me such a thrill driving down there, he said, that it was sad when it finished, you know. But he was a good player. I mean, I was
he was.
In that cold, misty crowd at Tottenham the night he demolished them on his own. You know, there's so many great memories from so many great people, and he always comes to mind.
Definitely. And he's such a you're right. And I remember when we did our interview with him, we then stopped the interview because it's like, sorry, good night. So thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye. And he went, "Oh, can I carry on chatting about the fans?" And I went, "Of course." So literally I had to tag on another like 10 minutes at the end. You know, Crossy keeps talking because he was like talking about how much the fans made him the player he was. And he owed his career at West Ham to the fans. And it was just the way he just said, "Can I carry on talking?" You know, although we finished the episode, I want to talk about the West Ham fans more. And of course you can, because like everyone will love that. And no, he's an absolute gentleman. Such a gentleman.
Wonderful stories. Not all true, I hasten to add.
Well, when we were doing it, my wife brought in like an ice cream for such. She forgot, didn't realize I was on an interview. That's why I moved the garage now. I don't get sort of distracted. And she brought an ice cream, and he was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "It's an ice cream." And then, like quick as a flash, I went, "Oh, it's because you scored 99 goals. You know, that's why." And he was like, "Oh, very good, very good."
He's a lovely man.
Oh, he's lovely. Absolutely love the man. And again, you know, someone who's still very vocal on Twitter and gets involved in discussions and stuff like that, and it makes a huge difference to people.
And he says what he thinks as well.
Yeah.
He doesn't flower everything up. He says if somebody puts something on Twitter that is not right, he'll say so.
Yeah. And I like people like that. You know, I like people who, you know, it's you know, there's too many. We have too many wallflower. You know, like people who just like, you know, vanilla. You know. And I don't like vanilla people. I like people who have got a bit of a you know, even like they said in the modern day, someone like Trevor Sinclair and Ian Bishop and people like that. They're very vocal on Twitter about, you know, football, about the club and stuff like that. And yeah, why not? They're, you know, it's you know, they're not being employed. You know, they can talk what they want to do about things, and that's
right.
And it's absolutely brilliant. Right, okay, Crossy's in the original Psycho. Who is next?
It's very hard to choose, but I chose Frank McAvenny.
Oh yeah.
I chose Frank because him and TC were the first ones I ever started with events.
Sure.
At Dagenham and Redbridge. Didn't have any mic or anything, and we used Dagenham and Redbridge mic. Unfortunately, the mic had a slight delay on it, and there's one mic between the two of them. Frank's accent, a few vodkas and cokes. I don't know about anybody. I had no idea what Frank was on about. I don't even think TC understood it. But everybody clapped in the right places. He loved it, and he said, "I'll do it any time for you, Len."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my phone's ringing.
Don't be silly, man.
And anyway, he was so good, and he's been a friend since. He phoned me up as well when he heard I wasn't well.
Yeah.
And, but him and TC were a good double act. I had him in my list because at the end of the day, it was worth it. What he, you know, that one night, the very first night, started it all off. It was his first do, and in fact, TC says in his book that was the first night he ever started doing dinners, and that's why I put Frankie. Plus the fact he was diamond. He was a good striker.
Oh, it's funny.
I think of Chelsea, him and TC and Dan.
Yeah.
You know, it just sticks in your mind, doesn't it?
And actually, you know, and for me, it's like going back and looking at these, because when we interviewed Mackie, he went, go back and look at when we beat Chelsea. And so I did. And then what I didn't appreciate really until we started doing this channel and started watching a load of older football, which I wasn't around to see, is just basically how they were absolutely mesmerically fantastic on these absolute sand sand and bog filled pitches. You know what I mean? It's like, could you imagine them at the bowling green that is London Stadium? You know what Dev could do and what Brooking could do, and how much they'd be worth in today's modern day. Bloody hell, Dev 5K, 5,000 transfer, hundreds of tens of millions of pounds at least now.
It's going back to that 8-2 Blackburn game, Boxing Day.
Yeah,
that was a thick mud pile. But people, they still played it. Nobody complained. Didn't ever think of calling the game off. But there you go. Anyway, I defer from that. But yes, but Frank, he had to be in there. TCO told me off, but Frank should be in there.
Yeah, well, and I was interviewing someone. I think it was Sam Delaney or something like that, and I think Macca had his debut. I think it was a friendly against Orient, and he turned up to Orient, and no one really had heard of this Frank Machiavelli, and he thought he was Italian, and he thought someone pronounced it Frank Machiavellian, and so because he had like his his blonde Adonis hair. So I said, there we go, Frank Macaroni, and he's like, that's what I'm going to call myself now, Frank Macaroni. But Frank, he's just a top bloke and an amazing player. And who's the last? There's one more position.
Yeah, there's one more, but for whatever reason, I've chosen Brian Deere.
Nice.
Reason I chose Brian, he's an absolute gentleman.
Yeah.
He always got a smile on his face. He'll always attend anything we do for charity. But I'm so fed up of hearing about his 5 goals. I must have been out with Brian or been at events with Brian 20, 25 times. And he still, did I tell you about my 5 goals? But he's a lovely fella. He's a real nice fella, Stag. I think the world of him. And again, he comes along to anything to help out. He's always at the Bobby. Doesn't always play in it, but he always comes to the Bobby Moore Golf Day. Sometimes he takes the buggy around with all the beers on it.
Brilliant.
Sometimes you just go around and annoy everybody. Have you heard about my 5 goals? I think wasn't it a week or so later, Hurst went and scored one more, scored 6.
Did 6, yeah.
And he doesn't forgive him for that. He said, but mine was first. Mine was first.
Mine was first. I was the trailblazer.
Yeah, but he's a lovely fella, and But it's been very hard this 11 because I could have done 40 people.
Oh, easy. And particularly all the guys you get on the doing the events and stuff. It's not like you had a handful to pick. Loads of them you do loads of them, so it's not surprising.
It's not the ones like the players. I mean, Eddie Bovington's a good friend now, and I love Eddie. He's great and things. But no, it's been good. And I must say one thing: Steve Bacon. He's a lovely fella, Steve.
He is.
Steve and I were big friends even before he started photographing for West Ham.
Yeah.
We were both I still am. We were both into Speedway. He was a Speedway photographer, and I used to do mechanic. And one day I couldn't make it, and he took the bloke for me. And by doing it, he started talking to, and he ended up going to West Ham as the photographer. But he's lovely to see.
Yeah, he is. We're getting him on eventually when he's well enough to do it. But he's and that's what you've always had. I mean, people like Steve Bacon and Eddie, and that's people like to hear from them as well, isn't it? Because they have probably more stories because they know all the dirt. It's like
I talk to Eddie and his wife about once a fortnight.
Oh, brilliant!
Eddie's been going through the same things I went through.
Yeah.
And I've been on. I talk to him and chat to him and sort of reassure him and all this. And he's a lovely fella, Eddie. We're very lucky that's with West Ham. People.
Yeah, you're right. It is. There's there is still a lot of people around and some stories, and that's why I like your events, and I like doing this channel because these stories are being sort of recorded for prosperity now, isn't it? So, and even the fans, every fan has a story when they've met Paolo, or they met Macca, or they met Tony or something. There's always a story of a time, and it's special to them. And it's lovely that we get to do. I feel very, very privileged to be able to do that with so many people. Over 200 now, which is crazy.
Thanks for inviting me. I mean,
absolute pleasure.
I don't know if I'll be interested in what I had to say, but no, it's nice, and you do a great job. I appreciate what you do.
Cheers, Len. It's been lovely chatting to you because it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear from the more experienced fan as well. Experienced, you have experienced and inexperienced, so experienced fans. So I really appreciate your time, Len, and obviously, thank you to everyone for watching as well. On YouTube and the events. Don't forget the events.
Yeah, we're very lucky. Most of our events, like Dagenham ones, sell out as soon as we announce them.
Brilliant.
You know? We're doing one at Frinton Golf Club, which we're taking a chance on. We thought with Macca and Gailey, and we put it on our ticket tailor account, and we sold about 40 tickets in no time, and that's not till next June.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
but I think people now are craving to get to do stuff like that and to have stuff to look forward to. You know, it's like my wife's talking about bloody holiday, maybe 2022. You know, it's like, I'm a, it's a big birthday next year for me, and she's like, I don't know if we'll be able to go next year. So 2020, she's planning already, and it's like, Christ, let's breathe, let's get Christmas out of the way first. You know what I mean? But I think for your events and stuff, people got something to look forward to. So it's great that's all going about.
We'll see you at the next one.
Definitely, Len. Definitely, and I'll be around, mate. I'll always be around for you, man. And obviously, so for me and Len, thank you very much for your time, everyone. Stay safe. Come on your irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Come on your irons. That's it. Take care, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.
All the best. Take care.